All right. What's up? So this is a hard conversation for me to have, as a 27-year-old. I won't say lifelong, but ever since I was a teenager, Bucks fan, it's hard to look in the mirror at like the reality of situations and have an honest conversation about where we're at. So before we get started, right, like one, yes, I get it. I'm not an NBA player. My life will go on. Why should I care about the Bucks being, out the playoffs, right? Like, and yes, we don't know that they're out the playoffs. There have been people who come back from a 3-1 lead. And if Doc, of all people, got a 3-1 lead beat out with this team, it'd be one of the best stories in NBA history. But dealing with what probably won't be that outcome, and if it is that outcome, I'll happily eat my fucking words and say fuck the Pacers proudly. Then now it's time to have that real conversation about where the Bucks franchise is going moving forward. Now, I know, rationally speaking, it doesn't make sense for me to be sad about this, but seeing Dame go down like that kind of like really was a sobering reality of how good things can be and how quickly they change. And when the Bucks got Damian Lillard, bro, I remember exactly where I was. My cousin, who I have a podcast with, check out the Cousins Pod. We still gonna put the episode out. We recorded right before the game, which is always stupid. never record before something you care about. Because I feel like that's just asking the universe to fuck with you. But no, all jokes aside with that, I remember where I was when Dame got traded, and the Bucks were looking like in a very dire place, right? We had just gotten bounced out the playoffs. Drew Holiday had struggled. Chris Middleton wasn't staying healthy, and it looked like Giannis might ask for a trade. And when Dame came to the team, it just seemed like it made sense. It seemed like every Bucks fan's 2K fantasy was gonna come to life, right? But sometimes I think the Bucks and what happened in this is it's like a comedy and tragedy of errors, right? The comedy of errors is the fact that like you do all these different things to try to rectify and keep something alive, and it kind of ends up inadvertently being the thing that kills it, right? So, with Dame had a great career in Portland. He was a legend there, and he still is a legend there. And I wouldn't call him a legend here at the Bucks, but he had a solid career with us. Like he played the best of his ability, put up decent numbers while he was still in the waning years of his physical prime. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll always be weird for us Bucks fans in terms of how we see Dame. I'm sure a lot of people will say we should have never traded Drew, we should have never traded Chris, we should just roll the sunset. But sometimes when you're in a situation that's impossible, that's just what the situation is, impossible, right? And so I don't think Dame ever got a stable opportunity to show what him and Giannis could have been. I don't think Giannis really knew how to be the type of player that Dame could use his skills, and I don't think Doc or Griff had any of the offensive intangibles and creativity to really bring out what that partnership could have been. I don't think it's a bad trade, right? Like to this day, I'll always defend making that trade, because if you have an opportunity to pair two of the best NBA players in the league, you do it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like they blew up the entire team. They got rid of Drew and Grayson, and the pieces didn't fit. It just didn't work out, right? It doesn't look like it worked out. And now if Dame has torn his Achilles, it's like, damn, there's really no recourse of action, right? It looks like it's time to blow it up, right? And I think that's kind of weird, because me personally, I never knew Giannis. I never had a face-to-face interaction with him, nothing like that. But he's always been this figure for me that represented like something to be proud of in Milwaukee. Because I feel like if you're not from Milwaukee, you don't really know what it's like here. But any smaller city in the Midwest, there's gonna be like just limited opportunity for people. There's gonna be limited moments for people to even know where you're from. And so when I was going off to school in DC and going off to school other places, seeing Giannis in a Bucks uniform, seeing the Bucks be a great team was something that I had never experienced before. I never had anything for myself that I was super proud of about being from Milwaukee, other than the fact that I knew there were good people from here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so having something external that I could point to was like really meaningful to me over the years. And, I was glad I got to see a title, because I never thought we was going to really see a title in Milwaukee. And the way we got it, it was dope. It was what we needed as a city at the time. it felt good. It felt amazing, honestly. Like, even if you didn't care about the Bucks, it was just something to rally around, right? And I think ever since then, yeah, we wanted that feeling back, but we never got a chance to get it again, you know? And I think that's the thing about life, you know? Sometimes you wait too long and you miss opportunity. Sometimes it's too early, it's too quick, and you don't get it. Sometimes there are just a million things that seem to just not allow you to you move forward. You know, Chris Middleton and how he battled with injuries, you know. And I think for me as a fan, right, I'm still proud of my team. I'm still proud of every one of those people who come in and do their part to represent the city the best of their ability. Like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of them aren't in love with being in Milwaukee. I'm sure a lot of them would rather be in other markets doing other things. But the ones who have stayed and consistently been a part of the community and consistently shown up, you know what I'm saying, and represented us across the world, that's meaningful to me. That means a lot to me. And Dame Lillard means a lot to me as a fan, as a Bucks fan. I don't think Dame wanted to be here. Like, I'm not saying I don't think he hated it here. I just think I don't think this is where he wanted to be. I think it was very hard for him. I think he was kind of warming up probably more to being around here, but it was just like, you know, it was always going to be a challenge changing up something a place you've been for 12 years. And then, you know, he wanted to probably go to Miami or LA or somewhere where he could kind of be more free to explore like the fun in life that, you know what I'm saying, that he missed out on, maybe trying to be a family man and trying to do all these different things. And so I commend Dame for always showing up as a professional. You know what I'm saying? I commend Dame for a steadfast attitude. And I regret the fact that Dame was not able to be successful with the Bucks. I regret the fact that this is how his career with the Milwaukee Bucks is gonna end, probably. Like, and I'm not saying that Dame like can never be a good player again. I mean, we saw KD came back and he was a decent version of himself, but KD, you know, was a different physiological point guard. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna count out Dame in terms of him being able to come back and play at a decent to maybe even good to great level. I don't know. We'll see. But I think this chapter of Dame's career as a Milwaukee Buck, as an impact player who can change our fortunes in these next 2 years is done. And that's sad, because I really, really, really thought that they had a lot of potential. And I think that if they had gotten a stable, fair shot, if the organization has priorities straight, shout out to Haslam's. I said it in one of my podcasts. You can go back. I said they're a cursed franchise owner. And we literally were talking about Achilles today on the pod. So that just feels like a bigger fuck you. But nah, man, like I commend Dame for the player he is, for the person he seems to be. I commend the Bucks, and you know, I want Giannis to keep being able to pursue his passions as a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? I think what he brought to the city was amazing and has been amazing. And I will never, ever hate Giannis for pursuing greener pastures. You know, yes, you would like people to stick it out and tough it out and fight to the end and do whatever in their power. But sometimes you did what you could do, and now it's time for different things. So shout out to the Bucks. Shout out to Chris and Drew too. Shout out to all the guys who come in our city, who represent it, who make us believe in something better than ourselves, something bigger than ourselves. Shout out to the owners who, even though they got that little lick on us and made us pay for some of that stadium with our tax money. Well, not with mine. I was a kid, so I didn't really pay anything for that stadium. But still, the point I'm making is, you know, it's challenging to see things change and to not get the outcome you want. But I could not be prouder to be a Milwaukee Bucks fan in this era of basketball. We made some dumb mistakes. We played some dumb basketball. But we had some amazing moments. And I cherish it. I cherish the city. And, you know, I look forward to the next season of Bucks basketball and however many games we have left for this season. So Bucks is 6. And talk to you soon.